Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of me rating your team. Last episode I had a lot of fun reviewing your guys' teams, giving tips and telling you what to change potentially, and I'm ready to do it again. If you want to be a part of the series and if you want me to review your team in the next episode, make sure you join my Discord in the description below and go to the channel FIFA Teams. And if you upload there your team on Sunday or on Monday during the day, you have the biggest chance of being in the next video. But yeah, let's see what you guys got from me this week. Okay, here's team number 1 from IversN, who still has 1 million coins. That's a lot of coins to still have. Let's see. We start off with a goalkeeper. On to chemistry.
Challenge, there's the slide, tackle on the ball. What is De Gea doing? He's just got to get his hands down.
Now I know that IversN is a fan of Manchester United. I know, but it doesn't mean you need to have a gold 87 rated goalkeeper at this stage in FIFA in your team on 2 chemistry with still 1 million coins on your account. It just ruins the aesthetic of the entire team. The team in general looks kind of sick, right? Like a lot of good players. Mid Zidane, who is definitely usable if you don't use him on the left mid. I'm pretty sure you would change that in-game in a different formation. Otherwise, this is a no-go. But Keane, Makelele, very nice midfielders. But I first want to go to the defense. I feel like Cordoba and Carvalho, they're both still decent. But Team of the Season has just been announced that we can vote. And I feel like having these going into Team of the Season still in your team, I don't know. If I look around at other teams, it feels a bit underwhelming. And the same kind of with Lam at right back. I feel like he's not good enough for right back. On midfield, I think he would be very good. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't tried him at right back, so I can't judge completely. But looking at the stats, he has very low physical. I feel like, especially since you're playing against Warren, as you can see here, Mbappe, all those kind of players, you kind of need that body because you cannot outrun them because they're super fast. So you need a little bit of that physical power to stop them, to hold them back. And I feel like with Lam, you miss that. Theo Hernandez, of course, very good. I know he packed him, so that's super sick that you have him. Reznnn, I'm getting bored of him. I'm getting bored of him, seeing him in every team. I know he's very good. He's still OP, very meta, but everyone has him. Everyone played with him since Team of the Year, or maybe even before Team of the Year, somewhere around that. And it's just getting boring. Then Eto'o, very good striker. Like, I think he's very underrated on FIFA. I always struggle against him. When I play with him, he's very good. Definitely a fun card to play with. And Warren, very sweaty, but really does the job. I would say for overall rating here, a 7. Just because I feel like your 2 center backs and your goalie are a little bit outdated. And I don't know how good your right back will be. And I'm just getting bored of Reznnn a little bit. So I would say 7 out of 10 this one. Then we go to team 2. And this team is from Sharky. He did tell me with the picture that he will buy Roberto Carlos, but that he's currently busy with an investment and he wants a little bit more money before he spends all his money on his left back. So he just wanted to share the team already, even though it's not complete yet. He can afford him, but he decided to wait for a little bit. And honestly, looking at the team, that's smart. Because Thiago Silva, he was there in literally like week 1 or something. I literally played with him at the start of the game. He is definitely outdated. So if you have to spend all your coins just on Roberto Carlos, I would definitely not do that. I would first indeed trade a little bit, get a little bit more coins, because you definitely need to change Thiago Silva as well. And maybe for like a Koulibaly or something like that. Like, there are many options to replace him with, and I would make sure you get those coins first. Fofana, very good player. I didn't play too much with him or against him, but I've heard very good stories about him. So that's definitely a good player. Trent, very fun and very good player. I love his super long throw-ins that he can do. You can literally throw it into the goal if you want to. That's a very nice addition to have on a player. It just gives you more opportunities if you want to create something, because people don't expect it. Ederson is kind of hit or miss. I hear a lot of people say that he's not good. But I faced him like a few times where he was good. So it all depends what you feel. If he's good for you, he's good for you, you know? I can't really judge really about that. Then midfield, super strong. But I feel like it's a little bit too defensive. Of course, Mateus is very all-round in that way, but dribbling is for him a little bit on the low side. And I feel like you need a more attacking midfielder. I don't know how you play in-game. This feels a little bit too defensive, these three. In general, they're all three amazing cards. Then in the attack, Rivaldo, he's good. It's nice that you did this SBC. I did this SBC as well. And it's definitely a fun player. Is he the best player? Probably not, but he is definitely fun. Cantona, amazing player. I know that he packed him out of the 90+ icon SBC that's out right now. And he was like, is that good? And then I told him, bro, that's a super expensive player. He's really good. And then he realized how good he actually was. He played with him. He loves him. And yeah, I really love Cantona in game. That's a very fun card because you don't see him that often, even though he's super good. Because he's not super meta. Because you kind of need to be able to play with a little bit of a bigger player. And not everyone can do that. There are a lot of people who just dribble and use their pace. And with him, that's a little bit different. But he's very good. And for the second time in a row, Aaron, I don't know what to say about it. Besides being sweaty. That's all it is in the end. I'm not gonna lie, I have him as well because I rock an untradeable team and I packed him. And he's just very good, so why not use him? But at some point I will definitely replace him. You just see him everywhere. It's just very sweaty. But if I quickly look at the bench, I see here a Puskás. I really hope that is a loan. I don't know what formation you play, but I would say that either Messi or Puskás, probably Puskás, but I would say that Puskás needs to play. Like I said, your midfield is a bit too defensive. I don't know what formation you play, but I would say get Xabi Alonso out and put Puskás in and bring like a Rivaldo, Cantona, or maybe even Puskás more to like a camp position or whatever position you need him for. And if you really play this formation, then I would say Rivaldo maybe because he's quite big. Of course, Cantona is big as well, but I feel like then your midfield is still a little bit static and that might work a little bit better. But if I have to rate this team based on him having Roberto Carlos already, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. And the reason for that is I deduct a point because of Thiago Silva. And I deduct a point because your midfield is maybe a bit too defensive. But then again, I would deduct a point for Warren as your attack, but you also have Rivaldo and Cantona, which not everyone has, which balances that out. So I would say 8 out of 10. Then we go into the third team. First thing I see is Warren. Once again, like this video if you're bored of Warren as well. And subscribe if you're bored of Mbappe. Because he is Mbappe as well. And if I look further, then it becomes kind of a ready team. Very sweaty. I would honestly be scared to play against this. Because Donnarumma, good goalie, always personal preference, but in general he's good. Then the standard two center backs, Baby Maldini and Flashback Ramos. At least in half the games that I play, those two are there. Just very sweaty in that way, but of course also very good. What is not that good is that he's on 2 chemistry points. I think you kind of need his full pace boost, but he's still an OP center back. Zambrotta, very good. I really like him every year in the game, and this year he was an SBC, so it makes sense you have him. Even though a lot of people might have him, I don't see him that much in the game, so that's definitely a good player. Roberto Carlos, always an amazing and fun player to have. Just very good, and of course, sometimes you can take a long shot. A free kick, it's just a lot of fun with him. So definitely a fun choice there. Midfield with Reznnn and Keane. Very steady defensive midfield. With then also Cruyff there, which is of course also an SBC, but just a very good card. And there are some people who call Cruyff sweaty, but I disagree. Because it's still a super expensive player. To be fair, he's not super overpowered. Well, he is, but I don't know. I don't think he's sweaty. I just think that's a very good card because the thing is, Cruyff is one of the best players ever in football. So you can't call that sweaty, in my opinion. And then we go to the attack with Eusebio, Mbappe, and Warren. Well, especially Mbappe and Warren, very sweaty players, and you see them almost in every FUT Champs game. And Eusebio, just a very good card. Like, it's just a fun player to use. You don't see him that often, but if you see him, you struggle against him, and he's just very good. But looking at this team, I don't really see an upgrade per se, rather than upgrading the players that are there for their better versions, maybe. Maybe get a baby Maldini out, but he's still OP. But that would be my first choice, to get him out. And Reznnn is a cheap card, but it's a new card, so it's fun to try him out. I haven't tested him yet, so I don't really know how good he actually is, but on paper, he looks very good. If I have to rate this team, though, I will give it a 9 out of 10. Just because there's not that much to upgrade, but they're also like the standard 2 center backs, Mbappe and Warren are there. And that makes it maybe a little bit boring. But besides that, yeah, 9 out of 10. And for the last team, I hope there's no Warren, because we had them in all 3 teams so far. Let's see. Indeed, no Warren. And this is a Bayern squad. Bayern past and present. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. First thing that I see is subs are not all past and present Bayern. Of course, there are a few with Tolisso, Coman, and Pavard. But then you have a Yaya Toure, a World Cup Yaya Toure, benched. He did say that he plays with this team as well. So it's not just a fun team to have there and he doesn't play with it. Because then I can be like, okay, you know what? Sure. But he actually plays with it. And to have then Yaya Toure on the bench, I know he didn't play for Bayern, but I'm like, it feels like such a waste then to have one of the most desirable cards in the game because he's so good. Pretty much everyone wants him, and then you just bench him. And I'm like, okay, if you go Bayern past and present, make sure all the subs are also Bayern. But if we look at the team itself, I don't think there's much you can upgrade, right? This is pretty much as good as it gets for a Bayern past and present. I'm trying to think if there are players that could be better, but I don't think there are. This is pretty much the best Bayern squad you can build, rather than the 92 LAM, which you can get a 93 LAM for. But that's about it. So if you look at it that way and you want a Bayern past and present, then I will give it a 9 out of 10. Because you can still upgrade LAM, and you can still make sure your whole bench is also Bayern. So if you go for a Bayern past and present, I would still do that. Besides that, also the players are just good, right? Like, they're usable. Maybe Muller, not that much. Maybe in attack, you miss a little bit of speed. Because Gomez is not super fast. Muller, not super fast. And not that good as well in game. So you only have Mane with pace. So I would say if you play FUT Champs with this, I don't know how good you will do. The rest, super good. Super meta. Besides maybe Lam on right back, I wouldn't do that. As mentioned in the previous team as well. Midfield very solid, attack very solid, but misses maybe a little bit of pace. But for a Bayern past present, definitely a playable team. Better than most past and present teams that people make. I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope you enjoyed the way I review the teams. If you have any feedback on how I do it, please let me know. And again, if you want to be a part of this, if you want me to review your squad, make sure you join the Discord. We can also just vibe there. You can get all the leaks. You can get trading tips. You can just vibe there, you know. But you can also send your team there, and then who knows? Maybe I will check it out in the next episode. Who knows? But for now, this is gonna be it. And I'll see you next time.